It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Texas offense gives a glimpse of the new passing attack on day 2.
That would be Sarge. Yes, sir.
Why, yes. Yes, I do, Mr. Stroud. I do have something that I need to say. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's about the closest thing to happiness. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. Once again, you're tuning into the Texas Happy Hour. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk. Get myself together at Big Sarge Media. Make sure, I'm sorry, y'all, I got something on my mind and it is hilarious. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because, we do everything for the gram. And make sure that you're subscribed to the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast, all one word, Texans Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel. Hey, what's going on, y'all? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Give me a second. I'm just gonna have me some water because it's entirely too late for me to be having alcohol at this time of night, knowing that I have to get up and go to the gym in the morning. And also after the gym, the Houston Texans will be having day 3 of training camp. Day 3 of training camp on Friday. What's up, DQ? And so yeah, y'all, I'm sorry. I'm just drinking, the best water in Texas. You know what it is. They ain't paying me, so I ain't gonna say nothing. But you know what it is. You know what that label is. Listen, I made sure to tell you all after my day 2 recap that's available right now on YouTube at Texas Tailgate Talk. Make sure you subscribe. I made sure that I said in the said that in the recap, and then I said that on Thursday morning show that I didn't get a chance to do a Texans happy hour after day 1. Now I know that I won't be able to do one after every practice. I'm going to try my best to do a happy hour, during training camp. I'm going to try my best to do a happy hour at least, I want to say, at least 3 times a week. And they won't be consistent. The happy hours won't be really a consistent time, but you're going to get them. I want to make sure that you get them. And I may not be here, I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here for a good time. And for those of you all who support me and make sure that you support me and show me love, I want to make sure that I give that back by making myself available and talking with you all, the Houston Texans fans, the ones who love their team to no end and no avail, who loves their team. I try to make sure that I'm giving you all the best coverage in the city of Houston and surrounding areas. And I want to make sure that I tell you what I observed and what I seen from, watching these training camps and, being present and in the moment. Yeah. Being there and being present in the moment. Now I will say this. I'm sorry, y'all. I got some petty things. I got some petty things on my mind. What's up, Texas Tangent? I got some. Yeah, that is a train that y'all hear. It's late. I got some petty things on my mind, but I ain't gonna allow that to. I'm not gonna allow that to happen. One thing that I have done, you know, over the last two years, last two and a half years, is rise above a lot of things and don't get myself caught up in a lot of things, a lot of back and forth because I got way more to lose than others do. I ain't gonna get into to that petty stuff and the back and forth, but I be thinking it so much because I'm petty by nature. Like I'm petty Pendergrass, petty Bridgewater, like for real, like for real. And so I try not to get myself caught up in those type of things. I just be laughing, y'all, so y'all give me an opportunity and a chance. But like I said, I want to make sure that I try to give you all a happy hour. You will get a daily podcast, but I'm going to try to make sure I give you a happy hour. And even when I go to West Virginia, even when the team leaves Houston and goes to West Virginia, and that's about they got another week. They'll have about another week, yeah, about another week in Houston, and then they fly out. They fly out to Greenbrier, West Virginia, and they practice in West Virginia for a week leading up to their first preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings. And so, even though I will be in West Virginia, I want to make sure that I give you all I want to make sure that I can. There will definitely be a podcast, so make sure you subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast. There will definitely be a podcast, and there will definitely be some happy hours. And some extra stuff because there are going to be some other local media members that's going to be there. I'm going to get a lot of I've already started to plan and put some things in place where I'm going to have some exclusive one-on-ones. Oh, that being said, listen, I know we're going to get to it in just a second. On Thursday, I did I had a one-on-one, an exclusive one-on-one with Sheldon Rankins, defensive tackle, who it's interesting because Sheldon was here that first season that D'Amico got here, the first season that CJ was drafted, and the first season that Will Anderson Jr. was drafted. And a lot of people don't realize how influential Sheldon Rankins was to Will Anderson's rookie year. Like for real. Like and when you look at it, when you look at Sheldon Rankins, a lot of people, Sheldon Rankins is a very good, very solid NFL players, and you may not have his name up there with some of the great, defensive linemen. You may not have his name up there with some of the great defensive tackles, but all he has done has been very good, very consistent during his time in the NFL, and his locker room presence, his veteran presence in that locker room helped them navigate through a lot that first that first season. I mean, and you have to think about it. It was a season where there was a lot of unknowns. There was a lot of unknowns in that first season under D'Amico Ryans, and with was a rookie quarterback who, from the time he heard his name being called as the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft, as soon as he heard the Houston Texans have selected quarterback CJ Stroud, that franchise quarterback tag had already been stamped to him. He already had that label. They should have said Houston Texans select CJ Stroud, and then in parentheses put franchise quarterback. That's what they should have put, franchise quarterback, because he had that label on him already. And then right after CJ was selected, with the Houston Texans having their the cornerstone of their offense solidified by selecting CJ. Then right after that, they solidified the defensive side of the ball. They selected their defensive cornerstone in Will Anderson Jr. And as talented as Will is, As talented as Will is, excuse me, there still had to be that crossing over coming from the college ranks and how great he was in college to getting acclimated and playing in the NFL. Sure, you're coming in, you're very athletic, you're very smart, and you're very you reach the pinnacle, you reach the top of being you've reached the top at Alabama, SEC Defensive Player of the Year 2 times, if I'm not mistaken, 2-time All-American, and other accolades and awards that you can attach to Will Anderson Jr.'s name. But you still have to take that next step because you've accomplished what you've accomplished in college, and now you got to come into the NFL, and it's a whole new thing. It's a whole new thing of learning all over again. And Sheldon Rankins helped Will. If anytime anybody talks to Will and they mention Will is going to mention two names right off the bat. He's going to mention Sheldon Rankins and he's going to mention Jonathan Grenard, former defensive end for the Houston Texans, who now plays defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings. And so um and so had an opportunity to speak with Sheldon Rankins. I'll probably be putting that out Friday, sometime, because there's going to be an article on www.bigsargemedia.com. There's an article that I'm writing about Sheldon Rankins coming back, and he left last season. I think he's with the Cincinnati Bengals, and now he's back. And although you look at him as a starter, but a rotational guy as well, his presence inside of that locker room is going to mean so much on that defensive side of the ball. He has a lot of knowledge to give to a lot of those players. And so, yeah, I got an opportunity to speak to Sheldon today, and it was really good. Sheldon is a really good guy, man. Very smart, very articulate, knows the game, knows the ins and outs. I know for sure that Sheldon is going to be a coach. Hold on, we've had some people sneak in here. Brandon, what's going on? Senior Boble, what's going on? Deverick, what's going on? Let me put this up real quick. What's up, big brother? Big brother, big Sarge. What's going on, man? I want to have a happy hour now. Where's your bar tonight? I only got water. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne and Malcolm Jamal Warner, aka Theo. Yep, to those grieving families. I don't have anything negative to say, right? I don't have anything negative to say because you got families who are grieving, no matter what you thought about. I know at least two of these people that he's speaking of, has some controversy surrounding their name, but you know, for me, for Sarge, it does me no good to throw dirt, or throw dirt on their name, or say anything bad or anything negative about them. They're no longer here, and the people who are reading these things, the people who are listening to these things, the people who are seeing these things, is the family who is grieving. And so no matter what you may have seen, one or two of these people, no matter what you have seen, sorry, what your views are, no matter what your views are on them, you still got a grieving family who has lost a loved one. Sure, there are a lot of things out there for at least two of these people on this list that will upset some people, that will offend some people, that has offended some people. But it does me no good to sit here and talk about that when you got when you have grieving family members, grieving family members, grieving friends, who are close to these people. Um, it does me no good to go on social media or say something right here, about this person was this and this person is that, while the family has to deal with the loss. And now you got to read all of this stuff that's being spewed about the person. So, I'm just going to say this, and this may be a little bit controversial to some of the supporters of the Big Sarge Media. I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna talk about one thing, and then we're gonna move on to the Texans. Hulk Hogan, right? I do know what Hulk Hogan has said. I do know what Hulk Hogan has said in the past. I do know, some of the things that he said. I do know that, he was caught saying the N word and being derogatory, towards African Americans by using the N word. But I also know what he did for some people in wrestling. If you get an opportunity to talk to Stevie J, Stevie will tell you how Hulk Hogan helped him. And Stevie J used to be with Booker T. He'll tell you how Hulk Hogan helped him when he was in wrestling. But my thing is this. I didn't know. I looked at Hulk Hogan, and when I used to watch wrestling, I liked Hulk Hogan the wrestler. I didn't know Hulk Hogan or whatever his real name is away from wrestling. If we want to talk about, that person, then hey, we can talk about his views on different types of things. But I only knew Hulk Hogan as the wrestler, and I know that I like to watch him. I like to watch him wrestle. So, and like I said, I've been through grief, too much grief, and I know what that's like. So anyway, I ain't gonna get too deep. I just that was interesting. You said that, and I'm like, I'm not going into, none of that stuff. I just want to say, to the grieving families, my condolences. I know what it's like to lose a loved one. And I will say this, to end this off. Hey, Malcolm Jamal Warner, hey, that brother was amazing, man. I didn't know. I didn't know, I only knew Malcolm Jamal Warner from being Theo on the Cosby Show and from Malcolm and Eddie, which was an amazing show. But I didn't know he did all this motivational speaking, and I had never really listened to him in interviews. I never really paid attention to him in interviews. And so I'm listening. I was like, damn, that brother was nice. So yeah, Derek, I can't have no. I have some water, man, because like I said earlier, I got to get up and go to the gym, and I don't want to have that lick in my system trying to sweat that lick out, and I have to go to training camp on Friday, so I'm just going to keep drinking water. So all right, what's up, Tay? Tay say folks are dropping left and right. Just goes to show any day can be yours and treasure. Amen. That's why I don't get off into a lot of that stuff anymore, man. I count my days. The older I get, the more I'm like, yo, this could be my last day on earth. You think I want to spend it going back and forth with somebody on social media? I do not. I'm good. No, thank you. I'm good. I'm good. I put out a post today that said, hey, look, social media is nothing but an algorithm. So before you going back and forth with somebody like on Twitter, hey, imagine what they're saying, put it in binary code. They have a binary code converter. I didn't know if you all know this or not. And we're going to get to some Houston Texans talk here in just a second. Hey, I don't know if y'all know if they got a binary code converter where you can take a phrase, put it into a box, push translate, and it'll show you that saying in binary codes. And all it's going to be is a bunch of ones and zeros. So what I've done is sometimes when people criticize me or try to take shots at me or try to shoot slugs at me, I'll just go and copy and paste, copy that phrase, paste it into the binary code translator, translate it, and then I'm looking at it and I was like, yep, I don't have a clue how to put all these ones and zeros together like that. I don't know. This is nothing but an algorithm. So I don't understand. I'm not gonna go back and forth with a bunch of ones and zeros. That makes absolutely no sense. It's like trying to smell the number 7. Like it doesn't, like, what are we doing here? I feel like the longer I look at these ones and zeros, the more I look at these ones and zeros, the dumber I get. What? I don't understand it. Try it. Somebody criticizing you or saying something crazy, copy it and paste it into the binary code translator, and then look at it again. Look at it again. You know what? Copy it, paste it in it, let it translate it to binary code, then copy the binary code, put it back on your Twitter feed, and then back in your Twitter feed, paste it, and then just look at it. Don't post it, just look at it. You'll be like, so this is what I'm arguing with. Wait, this is what has me upset. This is what this is what I want to, return fire on. I don't even understand this. So by the time that you get through doing all that, so y'all remember when we first came on the show and I just kept laughing, like kept laughing, I could not stop laughing, and I said, I really want to be petty, but I'm not gonna be petty. Yeah, I took some of the things that has been said about me the last couple of days, and I just translated it into binary code, and I was like, oh, this shit don't make sense to me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move on. Tay say, I ain't doing no jaw jacking on the internet. I got too much going on in actual life to be worried about what folks got to say. Hey, man. Tay, let me tell you something, bro. My baby's about to start, and I'm talking about my grandbaby's about to start school, man. My oldest grandbaby just turned 11. And the other one, she'll be 8 this year. They're about to start school. I got way more. My late wife's oldest daughter is about to be the first grade teacher. Like, she's gotten into education. She sent me pictures and videos of her class being decorated today, and she about to be a teacher. And I was like, I ain't got time. I could care less about going back and forth about the Houston Texans offensive line, or going back and forth about the Houston Texans offensive lineman. Man, I'm worried about. I mean, I'm my baby's about to go to school, so yeah. Why is Christian Harris taking longer to come back than Aaron Rodgers and Nick Chubb? That's hilarious. All right. So once again, you're tuning into the Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estate. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to happiness. So make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. What's up, HD? So you see the title, right? You see the title. The title says Texans offense gives a glimpse of the new passing attack. And after day two, when I did the recap, I made sure to mention Texans rookie wide receiver Jalen Noel, right? I made sure to mention that and what type of day he had in day two. And then the Houston Texans actually put out maybe one or two of the clips from their team on their Houston Texans Twitter page, and it showed exactly what I was talking about. I did not realize until I seen him in real time, because remember now, during mandatory minicamp, he was not there the last 2 days. Like the last 2 days, I don't know what injury he was nursing, but he was like nursing a small injury, and I think it was more for precautionary measures, knowing that it was just mini camp. So they just mostly needed him there to be doing his rehab and to watch some of the things that was going on. But now he's back full participation in the first 2 days of training camp. And so today I'm just saying to myself, man, I didn't realize, watching him in real time. Of course, you see things on film, right? You see things on film. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't watch a lot of Iowa State games last year. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not. So had I heard of Higgins and Noel, of course I'd heard about them, but I can't sit here and tell you, yeah, man, I remember when they played against such and such, and I watched them do this and I watched them do that. So I only was able to see, the film, going back and watching some of their old highlights, watching some of their old games, but it's different when you're watching it in real time. And so as I'm watching it in real time, I'm saying to myself, hey, this young man gets in and out of his breaks like real fluently, real easily. And I said in the recap that he was coming out of his second break already before the ball even came out of Davis Mills' hands. And the way that he was able to catch and catch the ball, turn up field, and just go. And and like I said, it's just training camp. Of course, it's just training camp right now. It's only day 2 of training camp, and I can only tell you what I see and what I observe. And it looks like though, so when I got an opportunity, because watching it in real time is one thing, but then watching it on film, when I watched the video clip and I seen the way that he was able to weave in and out of traffic, right? When he was able to weave in and out of traffic, that took me back to a poll that I put up on my Twitter page. It's on there right now. Big Star Sports with the Z at the end. It's a poll up there that says, "Hey, how many special teams touchdowns do you think that Jalen Noel's gonna have this season? More than 3 or less than 3?" Because the way that those two things combine with the way that he is on special teams, when I'm watching him catch this pass and turn upfield and weave in and out of traffic, I said, "Oh, so that's one of the things that makes him so good on special teams." It's one of the things that makes him so good on special team, his ability to weave in and out of traffic, and the vision. And like I said, it's only been day 2, but this is the first time I'm getting a chance to actually see this young man, in person in live action. And they don't have the pads on, of course, but just to watch him in live action, it's something totally different, and it's something that I feel like the Houston Texans will be able to take advantage of. On Friday, we will have an opportunity to speak with special teams coordinator Frank Ross, and when we get an opportunity to speak with him, I'm pretty sure a lot of the questions are going to be centered around him and him playing, on the special teams unit, and what type of what that adds to that special teams unit, led by Frank Ross, who does an outstanding and amazing job of coaching those guys up. But that's what I was able to see. So like the Houston Texans on Thursday, they let CJ, work out the kinks. You know what I'm saying? They let CJ work out the kinks a little bit. He got that arm in motion. They let Davis Mills, do what he does. But CJ was able to, to work out that arm a little bit. And so one of the things that they're doing is on Wednesday, they were installing, a lot of their run stuff. They went very, very run heavy on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, they did a lot of they started to install more of that passing game. So I'm sitting back and I'm watching, these concepts and these routes. And it's one thing. It's how can I put this? Let me just say this. So the benefit of the Houston Texans, installing this new offense, right? Installing this new offense, and installing this new offense against this defense, I feel like it's what's going to help them later on, especially later on in the season. I think the first couple of games, we talked about this on a previous podcast, the first couple of games is going to be an adjustment period, because it's going to be real time, real action, real live action, things being implemented at that time. And it's going to take, a little time for them to work out the kinks. But the benefit of the Houston Texans being able to hire a new offensive coordinator and install a new offensive scheme is, there's multiple layers to it. First, you get a third year quarterback in CJ Stroud coming back. You already know that he is a very, very good quarterback, and he's proven that the last 2 seasons in the NFL. But you already have an intelligent, smart quarterback in CJ Stroud, and so he's going to constantly be able to pick up that offense. And like we've talked about previously, and like he talked about on Wednesday, he's getting more control of this offense. They're going to allow him to do more. Hey, Bobby, guess what, man? Nick Caley is going to let CJ Stroud audible. Who knew that was an actual thing in the NFL? Like, wait a minute, hold on, time. Are you telling me that if a quarterback has enough time and he's looking and he sees some things going on, that he can actually change the play? CJ's going to have control of the offense. You've heard a lot of people in the Houston Texans organization said, "Hey man, that offense has they simplified it." So now you know what simplifying that offense means? That means that CJ ain't waiting for all these long drawn out plays to come into his helmet. And then the receivers ain't trying to run these long routes, these long route concepts. Nope. It's hey, get the play ins, get CJ to the line and let him make his adjustments. Let CJ make the adjustments that he needs to make. And that's one of the things that on Thursday you could just see that type of stuff. You could see CJ getting out of the huddle quick, and now he's coming to the line and he's being able to see things. And in his third year, he's already seen, the previous 2 years, he's already seen a lot. He's already seen a lot. So it ain't too many more exotic defenses that could be thrown at him that he hasn't already seen. And he's one of those learners that he never forgets and he never unlearns. He just keeps going. So one, you get the one benefit that you have by installing a new offense is that you got a third year quarterback in CJ Stroud. You got top 5 wide receiver in Nico Collins, right? You got some young talent on the you got some young talent at wide receiver, and you also got some talent in the backfield. But the biggest thing not only for that offense, but for Nick Caley, because he's going to be able to have to call these plays and watch these plays run and then be able to make the necessary adjustments. Just like what D'Amico said when I asked him about what excites him about the Nick Caley offense, he says because it's catered to the Houston Texans and it's able to there are adjustments that are able to be made. Patton, first of all, what's going on, my guy? I'm not talking about Lachey, okay? I will not talk about Lachey. Hey, but Brevin Jordan looked good on Thursday. We gotta talk about that another. I'm gonna get to the tight ends on another day. Hey, Brevin Jordan looked good. So, like I said, you got talent at the quarterback position. You got talent at the quarterback position. You got talent at the wide receiver. You got talent in the backfield. And those three things are going to help Nick Caley throughout training camp constantly be able to tweak this offense that he wants to do. But the biggest advantage that he has as an offensive coordinator is that he's going up against a top 5 defense. He's going up against a top 5 NFL defense every practice. Every practice, he got to make adjustments for what Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter is going to do, what Azeez is going to do, what Henry To'oTo'o or Christian Harris or EJ Speed or, whichever one of those linebackers is next to Azeez, you got to make it for that. And then after that, after you make the adjustments for the pass rush, you got to make adjustments for the coverage. Because now you got an all-pro, all first team all-pro defensive back you're going against on one side, and then you got his clone that if he keeps going the way that he's going is going to be an all-pro one day on the other side. Not to mention a hidden machine in Jalen Petrie, a hidden machine that can cover in space and could drop from one spot as far back as you need in the spot, get as close as he needs to be on the line. And then you got 2 ball hawks in Kalen Bullock and CJ Gardner-Johnson. So we talked about the benefits of what Nick Caley has and what the advantage that he has on the offensive side of the ball, but going up against that defense every day, every day, because that defense don't stop. That defense is relentless. And then you got Matt Burke and D'Amico Ryans calling those defensive plays and throwing these different types of looks at CJ and coming up with these exotic packages sometimes to mix and match, because they're practicing. Look, on the other side, they're practicing against a talented offense as well. But the thing for Nick Caley is, hey, look, if we can find plays, if the Houston Texans offense can find plays to beat their defense, they don't have to beat them consistently. They just have to beat them. They have to win reps. And if they can win reps against the Houston Texans defense, then they can win reps against some of these other defenses that they're going to face this season. If you can win those reps, so that's where the adjustment is going to be made, going to need to be made by offensive coordinator Nick Caley. That's where Caley is going to have to, pull from, these things that he's learned from Josh McDaniels and a Sean McVay, and being able to cultivate that into his own plan. And if you're able to do that, if you're able to do those type of things, and now when you're going up in the team drills, if you're able to win reps against that defense, now you're saying, okay, all right, because for every rep that the offense wins, the defense is going to adjust. I guarantee you that. As sure as I'm dark skinned, y'all see how dark I am. I'm dark. As sure as I'm dark, and I know I'm dark, that defense is going to make the adjustment. So you gonna beat them on this rep, and guess what? They're going to make the necessary adjustments on this next rep. You're gonna have to do it again. Meaning you're going to have to beat them again. If you beat them again, you're going to make the necessary adjustment until they win a rep. And then when they win a rep, it's going to be left up to the offense and Nick Caley to readjust. And that's how you get each other better. That's how you make each other stronger. And that's the advantage. That's the advantage that they have. That's the advantage that Nick Caley has over a lot of other teams in the NFL. There's only a certain amount of teams in the NFL that has that talent on the offensive side going up against a defense like the Houston Texans. So on Thursday, they had Thursday. They finally, let CJ work out his arm a little bit, and you can see some of the route concepts. You can see, just by looking at some different types of route concepts. Like I said, Jalen Noel looked amazing. And what I mean by amazing, I don't mean like, oh my God, he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. No, he just won his reps. He looked good during his reps, and then you come back and like they say, you just got to stack days. You got to stack days. But I was happy to see that they have started to install some of that passing game. We get some of these questions real quick. Oh, what's up, Glenn? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for finding me, and thank you for subscribing, man. I'm right here. I'm right here now at Texas Tailgate Talk, all one word. I know. Yeah, Patton. I'm gonna talk about Lachey. I will. Tay, you say how's Speed been doing? Hold on, Tay. I'm glad you asked that. Hey, listen, I know that I have said it on numerous occasions since OTAs and minicamp, where I said, man, I didn't realize how fast EJ Speed was. I didn't realize how fast he was, meaning how fast he can get to the ball. And so I watched it again on Thursday, and I was like, yo, this dude is fast. And so when Aziz came to the podium and he was asked about EJ Speed, he said, I tell him all the time, you better be glad you're fast, because with a name like Speed, you can't be slow. And he says, basically he's just amazed at how, quickly this guy can get to the ball. And so we're gonna see. We're gonna see how many reps when they get into preseason. I'm pretty sure that he's gonna be able to get a lot of reps, and D'Amico respects him as much, for from where he's come from to where he is now, and he's one of those guys that D'Amico knows that he can depend on. So yeah. Quick question: how was the other running backs looking so far? I haven't really gotten the opportunity, Patton, to look at Marks so much. Like I haven't like focused on him. Like so, I've seen some of his reps, and it's kind of hard because by the time by the time he gets in and he gets some reps, I'll be looking at other players. I'm looking at like what Horton is doing at the defensive end. Dylan Horton is doing, or like Solomon Byrd, or what linebacker Jamal Hill, how he's looking and what he's doing, and then looking at, some of these other defensive backs that are on the roster, looking at the two rookies in Jalen Smith and Jalen Reed. So that's on me. That's on me. But what I will tell you is this. Hey, Jawar Jordan had a nice little run today. And as a matter of fact, I think he had a nice run on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, but he also had another nice run on Thursday. So, it's crazy, Patton, because like I was talking to one of the Texans wide receivers after practice, and I said, "Man, y'all room is crowded." I said, and it's not just crowded with camp bodies; it's crowded with a lot of competition. And he said, "Yeah, it is." He said, "You got to bring your A game every day." He said, "You got to bring your A game every day." And he said, "I'm not just talking about bringing your A game on the field. Like, that's cool. You showing them what you could do on the field. But now you got to show them that you can bring your A game to the weight room, bring your A game to film study, bring your A game to your position group, and then the offense as a whole, then the team as a whole. Like, you got to be on your A game all the time." And that's just the wide receiver that was telling me that. Now, when you look across the board, you're talking about you got to be on your A game. It ain't just the wide receivers who got to be on the A game, because there's a lot of competition there. The running backs have to be on their A game as well, because there's a lot of competition there. Y'all hear that? Somebody is out here busting. Oh, okay. Ooh, I thought somebody was out here shooting. I forgot they working on a railroad track. Woo! Well, I almost thought something was about to happen. It's like, wait a minute. They doing this? It's a lot. Oh, that ain't the real. That's fireworks. Anyway, it's fireworks. Somebody's popping fire. Hey, look, man, I've been through a lot in my life. All right. I've been through a lot in my life on where I grew up. I've been through a lot in my life of my time in the Army. When I start hearing repeated sounds like that, I'm like, hold on, man. Y'all see, I stopped the whole. It's like, wait a minute, what's going on? So anyway, as I digress, um, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of competition in that wide receiver room, and you got to be on your A game, not just on the field, but like I said, in the weight room, in film study, with your position group. And this is what the wide receiver was telling me after practice. So there's competition in wide receiver room, and that's that same amount of competition in that running backs room. It's that same amount of competition in the tight ends room. It's that same amount of competition in what did I say? Receivers, running backs, tight ends. Yeah, those three groups for sure. Oh, and linebackers. It's a lot of competition there. So those four position groups. Let me make sure I write that down, because I want to talk about that a little bit later on. I should have. Let me write that down for a second. So wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, and linebackers. So yeah, so Patton, I will I'll make you this I'll make you this promise, Patton. It won't be. I know starting Saturday. I have to look at the schedule. I think the starting Saturday, the Texans will have open practices, and I think they have like 6 open practices in a row. So I think it's like Saturday, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No, Saturday, Monday. They may y'all know I don't like to do that. Give me a second. Give me uh give me 1 second. I have it. And I just looked at here we go. So the Texans have open practice on Saturday. Then they got open practice on Monday. They got open practice on Tuesday. They got open practice on Wednesday. And then they have an off day on Thursday. Then they got an open practice on Friday. And then they got an open practice on Saturday. So they got 6 open practices. And y'all know open practices mean open to the public. So they're gonna have fans, there will be fans there at the at training camp. And so in those 6 open practices, there's going to be a lot of like when the Texans hold these open practices, one thing that I've learned over the years with these open practices is that you learn some stuff, right? You learn some stuff. You can see them, doing the one-on-ones, as far as they'll start doing the offense versus defense one-on-ones. They'll do the 7-on-7s, and then the wide receivers and the cornerbacks and wide receivers and defensive backs will go one-on-one. The tight ends and linebackers and safeties will go one-on-one. You'll get a chance to see those type of stuff. But when it comes to the offense, right? It's going to be plain, it's going to be vanilla, and they're going to be practicing, but I won't be able to give you a clear indication on what I see until those open practices are over and they get to West Virginia. Now they're in an isolated area away from everything and away from everybody. It's like, when you're when they have these closed practices, we get a chance to see a lot, a lot of different things, a lot of things that we don't see once it's, once the practices are open. And so I won't be able to, you know, give you a clear indication. Even after those 6 practices, they're just going to be reps. I'll let you know when I'm in West Virginia on what it looks like leading up to the first preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings. All right, hold on. Who do you think will be our kick returner? Jalen Noel? Jags fans say we have no speed on our roster like they do. You know, just a question. I'm just because I haven't really paid attention to the rest of the AFC South yet. I'm still, getting acclimated to being back at training camp with the Houston Texans. So I have not, dove into what the rest of the AFC South is doing. So Jag fans, they got speed. Is the talent with the speed? Like I know that Neighbors is over there, right? They got Neighbors is the wide receiver over there. I know they got him. I can't tell you nobody else. Travis Hunter. But is Travis Hunter, is he full-time wide receiver? So I'm just asking. I ain't trying to be petty right now. I'm really asking, do they have the talent to go with the speed? Pads start Saturday. So they will have on pads Saturday. What's up, J Rock? Patton says, what's a guy you personally keeping your eyes on? So, Patton, before I answer that question, you're talking about outside of the starters, right? Outside of the starters, put it in the comment and let me know what you let me know. Then we haven't even made it through week 1 of training camp, and Landry saying we won't be able to run the ball this year. Is that what Landry said? Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear Landry say that. What I will say, I can't speak to Landry's observations. I can't speak to Landry's observations, and I won't speak for Landry. Let me make sure I preface my statement by saying that. I don't want to say they won't be able to run the ball this year, but if they don't establish some type of continuity early, if they don't establish some type of continuity early, then you're asking a lot from Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb if he's going to be the backup. And if Woody Marks is going to get some reps, you're asking a lot of them if you don't set that continuity right now. Like I said, it's only been 2 practices. They're about to put the pads on, and in West Virginia, after these open practices, I think that they'll start to get down and dirty a little bit. Because I think with the pads on, in the open practices, I don't even think they're going to the ground. I don't even think they're, you can tackle and go to the ground. And so, and they may not do that in West Virginia either. Let me not, say that they're going to give us something as far as tackling is concerned. But with that being said, the shuffling of this line already, and it's something that I asked CJ on Wednesday about during his press conference about not only learning a new offense, but also learning to get acclimated and get acquainted with new offensive linemen that, some that you haven't played with before, some that you played limited time with. And so that's one thing that you're going to have to look for. And so in order to establish that type of running game, excuse me, in order to establish that type of running game that the Houston Texans want to do to be ball dominant and to control the clock, control the time of possession. Soon they're gonna have to find the rotate. They're gonna have to find a lineup and stick with it. Yes, training camp and practices is for the mixing and the matching and the shuffling to find something. But there's gonna have to be a point where you find something. You say, okay, well, we're gonna roll. We're gonna roll with this till it don't work. And when it doesn't work, we got to see that this doesn't work, and then we're gonna move on. And that's one thing, that I have faith in, not only D'Amico Ryans, but in offensive line coach Cole Popovich. I think that they're going to be able to get it together because they got a lot of young talent on there, and then they got a lot of veterans on there, but you got a lot of new guys and you got a lot of young guys, and like you're gonna have to get that thing together. And you know, one thing I will say about Kaylee, he not playing them games. Kaylee not playing them games. Let me just tell you that Kaylee is not playing those games. Hey, we're not finna keep doing this same thing and it ain't working. And it's crazy because, like I said, I've never seen him call. I've said this on numerous occasions. I never seen him call one play, not one. I ain't seen Nick Kaylee call one play in the NFL game. But I see his attitude. I know what type of person he is. And I know, when I'm talking to players behind the scenes they be like, hey man, this dude is a maniac. He loves football. He said, Cole Popovich, maniac. So, like I said, I can't speak for Landry and I can't speak for Landry's observations. And I can't tell Landry that he's wrong. We may be seeing two different things, two different ways. I'm not going to say they can't run the ball after 2 days of training camp. It's just going to have to be more. I'm going to have to see more. I'm also going to have to see when Joe Mixon comes back and see what it looks like and what he looks like in that offense. Patton said that PTSD kicking in. Hey man, yes, yes. I'm telling you, I don't know if y'all could hear that outside, but I could hear it. And I'm like, I go into protection mode. Like, hey man, these boys out here sound like somebody out here busting. Hey man, I got a wife to protect. So yeah. Marks can make this team with his return ability alone, but how important is his pass blocking development? And that's one thing, J Rock, that I am going to be paying attention to, especially in West Virginia. I want to see what he looks like in pass protection. Oh, Thomas. Oh, Thomas is the one. Brian Thomas Jr. is in Jacksonville, and Malik Neighbors is in New York. He's with the Giants. My bad. Hey, Jags fans, charge it to my my mind, not my heart. I was not trying to take a shot. I was not trying to take a shot at the Jacksonville Jaguars team. I'm not taking a shot. I'm not taking a shot. I just I got them mixed up. I got Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. mixed up. Yes, Brian Thomas Jr. is a monster, and he does have the speed and the talent to go with it. My biggest concern is, will CJ be able to call audibles and make adjustment at the line? Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and yes, he will. I think that one of Bobby's biggest mistakes. Yes, exactly. I've said that. Hey, Glenn, I've said that as well. Not letting CJ audible was one of the hindrance of that offense last year. Outside of the start as a guy on the bubble, as far as making the team practice squad. So, Patton, I'm glad you said that, right? I'm glad you said that. One, of course, I mean, I've talked earlier about I talked earlier in the off season. I'm sorry, earlier last week about two rookies that I think that can make an impact later on in the season on the defensive side of the ball because of who they're playing behind. And that's Jalen Smith at cornerback and Jalen Reed at safety. And so those two aside, right? The most interesting the most interesting guy that I have been paying attention to right now is Jamal Hill, the linebacker. And I think that I mentioned him in the recap because today he had a fumble recovery that he returned for a touchdown. Yeah, a scoop and a score, a scoop and score. So he's one of those guys that I've been paying attention to because a lot gets said about Kamari Lassiter, a lot gets said about Kalen Bullock. But Jamal has that same type of, he got that same dog mentality inside of him as well. Jamal Hill has that same dog mentality. Jamal Hill has that same work ethic. The only thing that is working against him right now, outside of the Texans have a very good group of linebackers who's been in the league for a while. And what I mean by while, of course, longer than he has been in. But they got a lot of linebackers who have, who's played the linebacker position for a while. For those of you all who don't know the story about Jamal Hill was a safety all the way until his last year at the University of Oregon, and he switched positions from safety to linebacker, and the Houston Texans drafted him as a linebacker. And so last season was his first time of playing the linebacker position. I'm sorry, his second year playing the linebacker position, his first year in the NFL, and he was dealing with some injuries. He dealt with some injuries throughout the season, so he never really got a chance to get the full, game reps that he is, that he was looking for. So coming into year two, even just watching, like just watching his IG story and then getting a chance to talk with him, you can just tell he's putting in the work because he knows that there's a lot of competition for playing time at that position. But he also is learning from, some really good linebackers. He has Azeez Al-Shaair to pick his brain. He got D'Amico Ryans, who played linebacker in the NFL, is a good linebacker. He's picking his brain. And, you got these other people around him that's helping. So he's out there putting in the work, putting in as much work as he can as well to learn that position. But he's one of the guys that that I'm looking at. He's one of those guys that I'm looking at because so a lot of times when you have, okay, so let me put it like this. One of the reasons I like watching Christian Harris play, one of the reasons I like Christian Harris play, because Christian Harris is a former defensive back as well. And Christian Harris has the mindset of a linebacker, with the speed and the speed of a defensive back. And so when you're watching him, and when you're watching him on the field, in the way that he's moving, you could just tell, like, okay, yeah, he used to play some other position than linebacker. That's the exact same thing I see when Jamal Hill is on the field. And it's crazy because you're watching him, and I know that he's taking, some second team and third team reps, but you're watching him on the field, and it's when the ball is snapped, his ability to read and recognize where the ball is, or where the ball is going, or what he needs to do. It's almost like, because y'all know Brian Urlacher, who used to play for the who played linebacker for the Chicago Bears. He's a former safety. He played safety in college. So now you're looking at Jamal Hill, and as I'm paying attention to him, I'm saying, oh, he's using that safety vision closer to the line. He's using that vision that he has as a safety, as he's back and he's able to see everything. Now he's just closer. So the read and recognition doesn't take he doesn't have to sit back and watch and wait for the play development, because the play to develop, because he's the last line of defense. Now that he's closer to the line, he's able to read and recognize and see things, and you're picking up quick like that. But it's going to take a lot for him to be able to get on the field, because that linebacker room is so crowded. So I'm looking at him. Another player that I'm looking at on the defensive side of the ball is Dylan Horton. When he was able to get in there, he had some last season, coming back from what he had to deal with. Dylan Horton, I'm looking at him and seeing what he's doing, and we'll continue to pay attention to him. On the defense side of the ball, I'm looking at Solomon Solomon Byrd, who also plays defensive end. And so those are just a couple of names on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, of course, what we talked about earlier with the running backs, but the wide receivers, right? The wide receivers, because they got a lot of wide receivers, and one or two of those wide receivers are either going to be on practice squad, they're going to like be traded, or they may be released, because all of them is good. Earlier, somebody in the comments asked about Jared Wayne, right? And I know I've told you this before, and I know how people feel. And I wish I could find that clip. There's a clip where I think it was Mark Vandermeer, the voice of the Texans. I think it was Vandermeer who said that, talking to Derek Stingley, because I didn't see the clip. I mean, I didn't see the actual exchange myself, so I don't know if it's a video clip or an audio clip of Derek Stingley saying this. But Mark Vandermeer, if I'm not mistaken, it was Vandermeer who said that he asked Derek Stingley Jr., who was one of the toughest wide receivers to cover in practice. And Derek Stingley said Jared Wayne. He said, Jared Wayne is one of those guys that gives me a run for my money in practice. And when you watch Jared Wayne play, like, Jared Wayne can play. I know a lot of people are still mad because of what transpired in Kansas City in week 16 with Tank Dell and that Tank Dell injury. And a lot of people, are still upset with Jared Wayne. But just remove that for a second. And like, the man can play football. Jared Wayne can play football, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm not telling you something I heard. I'm telling you something I know. And he's one of those guys that he may not make the Texans. Somebody's going to pick him up, and if given adequate amount of reps, adequate amount of game time, he's going to be somebody that you're going to be like, dang. And if he does, if he doesn't make the team, or if he doesn't make the practice squad, and they have to get rid of him, you can't be mad at the Houston Texans. You can't, because they can't keep everybody. That's what I want people to realize. with the amount of talent that the Houston Texans have on their team, you can't keep everybody. So there's going to be some people that's going to get released. It's not going to make the active roster or the practice squad, and there's going to be an uproar about it. And you can't keep everybody because there's a lot of talent that they have, and that's why a lot of people are saying the Houston Texans got to put it together, right? Okay, so before I get ready to get up off of here, I want to say another thing. Hey, Jalen Petrie got an interception today. He got his first interception of training camp 2 days in. CJ Stroud threw his first interception in training camp 2 days in. And the way that it happened, though, like I get it. It was just, let me tell you something. That play was weird from the start, right? Because CJ bobbled the snap. So when he bobbled the snap, the ball hit the ground. So he had to pick the ball up off the ground. He got the ball, and then he, was getting into, being able to, he was able to get the ball, able to find himself a spot in the pocket. And then if he threw it, and I think he overthrew the wide receiver and went right to Jalen Petrie. And I was like, it was just a weird play from the beginning. Like you could just tell, like, hey man, this is a broken play. It looks like something ain't gonna happen, something ain't gonna be right. So that yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because we got an opportunity to talk to Aziz today. I'm gonna put out that clip once we get off of here. I'm gonna put out that clip of him talking about why, I specifically asked him why, he went to train with cover one with the elite. Cover one, Derek Stingley's father has he does training. He trains defensive backs, and it's called Cover One. And so they do one, for colleges. They do one, they do one for college players. They'll do one for college players, then they'll do one for NFL players, and then they mostly go away to do that one for the NFL players. I think last year they were in Hawaii, this year they were in Puerto Rico. And as he said, last year in Hawaii, he didn't know anything about it. It was just him and Henry was in Hawaii working out, and then next thing you know, they popped up, right? They popped up, and I don't remember who the center was. Patton, I don't remember who the center was. Could have been. It's Patterson. Patterson was the center. So, yeah, Patterson was the center. But he said when they were in Hawaii last year, he realized that Stingley then was there doing that cover one elite camp. He said man, I should have been in that. And so he told Derek's father, hey man, I'm gonna be at the next one. And if you go and you look at the videos and the pictures, Aziz is in the is at that elite. Him and Petrie was there too, but he was at the elite cover one camp held by Derek Stingley Sr. So he is trying to he said that it was for, not only was it for him to improve on his pass coverage skills, but for also team building. Like that does a lot for your, the quarterback of your defense, your middle linebacker is out here with the defensive backs. Like that speaks volumes to young players like Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter and Kalen Bullock and Jalen Petrie, to have like Aziz. Aziz is a middle linebacker. He's out here with us at this learning how to, be better in pass coverage. But that's just the type of person that Aziz is. And we're gonna talk about him, a little bit later on. What did Brandon say? You'll be shouting out the window. Do either of y'all need an attorney? I ain't gonna be shouting out. Hey, let me tell you something about me, Brandon. I ain't gonna be shouting out no window. No, no, no. I ain't. Hold on. Shouting. I think you got the wrong. You got the wrong. You got the wrong S word. If I'm opening up the window, I ain't doing no shouting. I'm doing use the other S word. Not no shouting. I'm doing the other S word. If I gotta open up the window, that means that I'm returning, right? I'm returning. You know what? Brandon, you're a very smart guy. I know you'll pick that up. Yeah, but just got through talking about Jerry Wayne. Uh that's a good question, J Rock. I will get can I J Rock, can I table that and get back to you? Let me get back to you. You think Harris is gonna get out here and practice since he's not on any of the injury list? I do. I do believe that. I do believe that he was he was needs to work on this. Oh, you talking about Aziz needs to work on his pass coverage because Kelsey made him look bad. Hey man, so hold on, Patton. You're right. Let me go on record. Let me first preface my statement by saying you're right. You're right. Uh, Two things. Aziz does need to work on his pass coverage, and Kelsey did make that linebacker group look bad. But damn, Patton, Kelsey is a Hall of Famer. First ballot. That man, like it, first ballot Hall of Famer. Rob Gronkowski made a lot of people look bad. Gronkowski made a lot of people look bad. Tony Gonzalez made a lot of people look bad. Like, you're right. He does need to work on his pass coverage, and Kelsey had himself a game against the Texans in that divisional round. But man, these Travis Kelsey is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, you can hold him down, but it's hard to hold him down, especially when he's catching passes from another first ballot Hall of Famer. I feel like Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes sometimes come into the huddle and be like, "Hey y'all, I'm throwing it to Travis. Travis, get open. Which side you want to be on, the right or the left? Hey, look, line block. I don't care if I don't care who's coming. I don't care if they blitz. Y'all work that out as far as the protection is concerned up front. You ain't gotta tell me. Y'all work it out up there. Hey, Travis, I won't throw it to you. Which side you gonna be on? I don't even need to know the route. I don't care about the route. Just when you get open, the ball will be there. Before you come out of your break, the ball is going to be there. Now, by some strange circumstance, I don't get the time that I need to wait for you to get out of your route, and you hear them give out the word as far as me scrambling out of the pocket. Wherever you are, find a spot. You find a spot, I'm gonna find you. You find a spot, and I'm gonna find you. That's how I feel sometimes it is with Mahomes and Kelsey. Hey man, get in the huddle. All right, y'all hold on, because like Andy is really trying to call a play, and I'm not finna run this play. Y'all give me a second. Talk amongst yourself, right? Talk amongst yourself until this thing goes off in my helmet. Hmm. Got it. I got it, Andy. Good call. Good call. Hey, so I'm gonna pass the ball to Kelsey. Which side you finna be on? What side you? Hold on. Okay, so you want to be on the right. So how about I start you on the left and then I'll motion you to the right. I don't care what the defense is doing. I don't care if they're in man zone. I don't care if they're blitzing. It does not matter to me. I'm gonna motion you to the right, and then you just run a route. Whatever route you feel comfortable with, it doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna get you the ball. Don't worry about it. On two. Ready? Break. So that's it. Kelsey was built like an out of shape farmhand last year, though, Sarge. And yet he still produced. Maybe he had, well, maybe he had too many. Hey, look, Tay, maybe it was too many late nights with Taylor Swift. Maybe he got too star studded. Because after he went from TK, he became Travis. And then, it changed a little bit. He's still a first ballot Hall of Famer. But you got Patton. Who is rocking that one? Ooh. You know what's so crazy? I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Ward doesn't wear number 1. I won't be surprised if either Jimmy Ward or CD, which is CJ Gardner Johnson, if CD, because he wanted number 8 and Mechie still has number 8. But I can see. Unlock your iPhone first. Oh shoot. I didn't even say you. I didn't say nothing to you. But either him, CD. Okay, realize I gotta say CJ Gardner Johnson, because if I say the other thing, then my phone is gonna go off. So either CJ Gardner Johnson or Jimmy Ward. I can see either one of them rocking number 1. Yep, that's who. Big Sarge said they are trapped in there with him, not the other way around. For sure. And lock the door when you come in, player. It don't matter. By the time the police come, the door gonna be locked. I feared for my life. I did. Gronk is different. Let's see what Vic has to say. Noel and Kirk needs to share first team reps, even though Noel not a starter. He needs to get a good amount of snaps every game. I think that's gonna happen. I think they will share, only because of, you don't want to, because of the injury history with Christian Kirk, you don't want to overload him. You know what? It's almost like it's like rest management, if I can use that word. The rest management, like, we know that we have this guy that can back you up, so we don't have to put a lot on you. And we're going to definitely need you more later in the season than we will early in the season. So you get a young fella some extra reps, and then you give him some extra reps, and now we can use both of y'all towards the end of the season. And I like that. Don't get me wrong, I like that, but we got to remember Christian Kirk has been in this league for a very long time. He's a very good wide receiver, and especially when he's healthy, he's a very good wide receiver. And Noel is still a rookie, and so he still has that. He's got to have that rookie learning curve, and so no better person to learn under than Christian Kirk. And especially when CJ and Christian Kirk get on that same page, Noel is going to be able to see that and watch that, and learning from him every day. Sitting next to him, I'm pretty sure he's going to sit next to him when they're in their position groups, as far as in the room, and then when they're doing the installs, as far as the offense as a whole. So yes, I think that may be the plan. I can't speak to that because I haven't got a definitive answer, but I like that as well. Tank gonna wear number 1, even though he might miss the whole season. I think when he comes back, he should wear number 1. This ain't sipping time. It's time to fry some chicken, Sarge. Hey, I'm not drinking. I got water. All right, y'all. Now that I've given you all a recap, now that I've given you all the recap, the Texans offense gives a glimpse of the the new passing attack on Friday. I will be back out at the Houston Texans training camp for day 3. Like I said, we get a chance to speak with the coordinators, and we speak with the position coaches tomorrow. So I'm gonna definitely get a chance to speak with Cole Popovich, the offensive line coach. He's gonna be one of the guys that everybody's gonna want to talk to. I want to talk to Ben McDaniels, the wide receivers coach. I want to talk to Jake Moreland, the tight ends coach. And I definitely want to talk to Rod Wright. Rod Wright, who is the defensive line coach. Those coaches are the ones that I'll be able to seek out and talk to quickly. And then while everybody else is scrambling, then I'll get a chance to talk to Dino Vasso, who is the cornerbacks coach, and Steven Adagogi, who is the safeties coach. And so I'm going to try to make sure that I can, while I'm out there, I'm going to try to make sure that I get you the best answers from these position coaches while they're available. So yeah, that's all I got. Hold on. Y'all know, let me see what we got here. Tay says Kirk is going to show Noah how to operate in the league as an undersized receiver, and that match with his talent is going to blow up. Tay, that is one hell of a take. Tay, that is one hell of a take. I'm gonna tell you that right now, Tay. I'm gonna clip that up. I'm gonna clip that up and I'm gonna put that out. So yes, Tay, I am going to clip this and put it out. Tay said once again, Kirk is going to show Noel how to operate in the league as an undersized receiver, and that match with his talent is going to blow up. Oh, I cannot wait to talk to Christian Kirk about that. I can't wait to talk to Christian Kirk about this exact take that you just made. Oh man, that was amazing. Hold on, let me make sure I write down this time. Kirk question. I need a moderator. I gotta hire a moderator to moderate these lives. I'm hiring. I need a moderator. I do. Getting acclimated. Getting acclimated to year 2. That's how K Stovers into the Thursday was the first time they actually started to do, some passing, and so he's getting acclimated. I'll have her and like I said, once they finish with these open practices and head to West Virginia and they practice those days in West Virginia, I'll be able to have a um better analysis for you. I'll be able to give you a better answer because once they get up there in West Virginia, we'll be able to observe a little bit more, not so much hustle and bustle going. Mitch getting traded to Carolina for a 5th-round pick. Oh dang, Patton. All right, some chicken. That sound good though. I need some Timmy Chance. Hey, MLK Timmy Chance. That Timmy Chance. Let me see. You have a segment on wildest camp stories from different guys. I got something coming, Brandon. I got something coming. Rod Wright gonna be a D coordinator, head coach pretty soon. Yes, he is, King Kobe. Yes, he is. Yes, Rod Wright. And D'Amico knows it. What you just said right here, King Kobe 713 Gaming, D'Amico knows it. He, without a shadow of a doubt, he knows. He can see it. He can see it. He knows it. He know. He said when him and I have been talking. I remember last year, because I was doing a piece on Rod Wright, and as a matter of fact, we ran that exclusive interview with Rod Wright on the other show. I may need, what I think I may reshare it and put it out on my channel. But when I was doing that piece on Rod Wright and I was talking to him about Rod Wright, and he was like, yeah, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna have him. He said, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna have him because But what he's doing, they gonna come snatch him up. They gonna come snatch him up. Kate is looking faster. Everyone is praising him so far. Yeah. Noel gives me Steve Smith's vibe. Yeah, and he's strong too. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, Tay. Yes, he did. Yeah, MLK Timmy Chance all day. All day. The way he coaches them boys up is inevitable. I'm gonna have, like I said, I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna go back and put that out. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that one out, and then I think I'm gonna get an exclusive with Rod right on Friday, and then put that out as well. Those players, man, those players love Rod Wright. They love Rod Wright, and I will say this. So today, actually, it's crazy. Today, Thursday, I was looking for Rod Wright, and I seen him, and then he was gone. And I was like, dang, where'd he go? So I seen him and he went into the bubble. So I tried to get around there, catch him. So by the time I got into the bubble, I was like, Jaden Higgins was in the bubble. And I said, hey, Jaden, you seen Coach Wright? And he said, he just went that way. I said, man, this man is hard to keep up with. And Jaden started laughing. And then he said, yeah, he a good dude. Took off, and I finally got a chance to catch up with him. But shoot, and Jaden plays on the offensive side of the ball. He already knows who he is and what he can do. So yeah. All right, y'all. You've been tuned into the Texas Happy Hour sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine. And that's the closest thing to happiness. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. And make sure that you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, because you know we do everything for the gram. And before I leave here, I just want to say this. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you all for supporting me and my content, and supporting Big Sarge Media as a whole, and supporting Texas Happy Hour, supporting Texas Tailgate Talk. And you know how they say it, I'm about to sound like one of them when one of them rappers or entertainers win an award. You know, I mean, without you, there would be no me. Without you, there will be no me. Hold on, let me see. All right, Senor Boble. Yeah, without you. And I know that I just laugh, but it's 20 minutes after 11 and y'all are still rocking with me. And I appreciate that. Don't worry, you'll see me again tomorrow. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Big Sarge.